Hi, this episode of the Web3 Artist Spotlight was broadcast live via Twitter and YouTube on Friday, June 23rd, 2023. In this episode, hosts Jancarlo and Jenifer interviewed artist Prasthanth-art. Hope you enjoy. This is a weekly Twitter space that now is also a video podcast on YouTube as well, where we like to interview and highlight the amazing work of Web3 artists. We had seen that, just there was other spaces out there that gave artists a very short period of time to talk about themselves and, quickly have to show their art, and really wanted to have something where we could go deeper and get to know the artist behind the art much better. And we hope that with these spaces, artists can reach new collectors, existing collectors or followers of theirs can get to know them better, and that maybe we can inspire people that are listening who might have, a creative passion inside of them to start creating and sharing their own artwork as well. It's a very inclusive space. We welcome artists of all nationalities, backgrounds, artistic styles, whether they have, 50,000 followers or 50. We want to welcome everyone and celebrate how art and creativity bring us all together. So with that said, I'm going to turn over to Jenny, who's going to introduce our guest for today.
Thank you. Prashanth is a talented illustrator and artist who creates art with serene, simple, and elegant line work to capture optimism and joy within the intimate moments of everyday life. Prashanth currently has 3 collections, which can be found on Foundation and Objkt. Jancarlo and I are excited to learn more about this talented emerging artist and warmly welcome him to today's space.
Welcome, Prashanth.
Thank you so much.
All right. So Prashanth, maybe. Oh, sorry. I go ahead.
No, I just wanted to thank you, Jancarlo and Jenny, for having me in the space. I think this is the first time I'll be talking about my work in a space, so I'm kind of angry. So do take care of me.
Don't worry, you're in good hands. Yeah, no, we'll definitely make you feel as comfortable as possible. It's a safe space, and and really cool that we're getting to help. Be your first space where you get to talk about your work and yourself. So really happy to have you here. Let's start off, Prashant. Maybe take 5 minutes and tell us a little bit more about yourself. Who you are, a little bit about your story, and how you eventually came into Web3.
So, to those who don't know me, hi, I'm Prashanth. I'm from India, from a place called Bangalore. So I didn't have an art background before coming to NFT. It's just that I was writing a book, a story based on Indian culture, and I needed inspiration for artwork for the book, and I came across this artist called as Bapu, and I realized that he had a collection of NFTs, and I wanted to know more about that, and that's how I tumbled onto NFTs, and I think I was a banker before that. It's been 1.5 years since I left my job. I've been on a sabbatical since then, and I've been putting all my time into NFTs, and it's been such a great experience. I've got to meet a lot of people who have influenced me in a lot of ways. In a lot of good ways, and that's what has been pushing me so far. And it's been those people that have allowed me to do whatever I'm able to do now. So yeah, that's a little bit of background about me.
No, that's awesome. So you had a traditional background in banking, but you were also trying to write a story or something about India. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, I'm a typical Indian. We do engineering, then we get into banking. So yeah, that was my original background. But then there was a point in time where I was I went to a dark phase, like most of us, where I didn't want to be in the position I was in. So I thought I need a break, and I thought I'll explore a few more options. And that's when I got into book writing. I used to write a lot of poetry before, so I want to make an adaptation of in culture. We have a lot of myths in our culture, right? So I wanted to use that as a background. So I was looking for art, and there's this one particular artist called as Vaku, and his work is based on Indian mythology, and I really like that, and that's how I got introduced into NFTs, and I somehow tumbled into it, and I went down that rabbit hole, and it's been.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. And it's funny now that you're mentioning the poetry, some of it like now makes sense a little bit of how you kind of describe some of your artwork and all that. And so I was looking a lot of some of your artwork like in preparation for the space, and I gotta say it's a very unique like artistic style that you have. What I find really amazing about it is that you're able to convey like a lot of emotion with the use of just very like simple lines, just a few colors, and your subjects don't have any like facial details, right? It's just like the kind of like the outlines, and mostly silhouettes and lines on the inside, and just thought it was a very unique and interesting style, and was kind of curious like how, and especially not having come from a traditional art background, how did you actually like come to develop your style of artwork, and what do you think kind of influenced that?
I think it's been part of a journey, right? Like when I started off with NFTs, I started off with poetry, and then I shifted to photography, and then I did a little bit of photo manipulation, and then I started drawing on my mobile. Like my first foundation piece was something that I drew on my mobile, and then again, uh, just somehow it happened that the artist that I talked about, Wapu, I got in touch with him, and he actually gifted me a drawing tablet, and I spent around 6 7 months trying a lot of different type of artworks, and just practicing, getting to on my craft, and that's how I ended up with the style that I have now. So it's been a lot of practice, and a lot of hours spent in front of computer, I guess.
Oh, so cool. No, and I love it. And what the other thing I was kind of curious about too was, where do you feel like the inspiration for some of your artwork comes from?
I think it's pure emotion, right? Like most of my artwork, like I make artwork to express my feeling, and for me, like when I went through a dark phase, like I was always an optimistic guy. I like to look at the bright side of stuff, and for me, my art is an outlet. So I try to put out as much as positivity out there as much as I can. And so like you told, right, like colors, I use few colors most of the time. Colors are what is that I use to express myself. Like if I'm feeling blue, I use blue. If I feel happy, I use a brighter tone. If I feel sad, I use a darker tone. So I think colors is my way of expressing myself.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, no, I love that so much.
I had a question which has to do with your name. Recently, I tweet asking friends to share the meaning of their names, and we discovered that your name aligns very much with your style of art. Would you say that you yourself are a calm person, or do you think that you find calmness through creating your art, or maybe both?
I wouldn't know the answer to that. You might have to ask my friends whether I'm a calm person or not. But yeah, definitely my artwork is usually calm, and that's the type of artwork that I want to do. Something that brings joy to people who look at it. But yeah, about me, you'll have to ask my friends. I think we have a couple of them. They might know me better than me.
We'll have to get them to come up on stage maybe to talk to that one then. That's awesome. So, other question I had, right, was, and I'm trying, I'm showing here on our live stream later for the video version of this, but maybe I can also actually one of the pictures I did pin up was also from this collection, right? But so you do have a collection on Foundation that's titled Solitude Serenade, and it's just a very lovely collection. I think it does a nice job of kind of like, again, also like conveying a lot of different emotions through color and like the expression of the subjects. And I was curious if you could share with us like why you chose to create a collection specifically about moments of solitude.
Uh, I was a shut-in for almost 2 years, like where even now, right? Like it takes a dedicated friend to get me out of my house. Like for them to call me like 10 times to get me out of my house. So most of my time I spend in a room, just with doing stuff that I like to do. So I think it was inspired by that. I just used that feeling along with few of the people that have inspired me. So it's a bit of me and it's a bit of a person from the space that I've met who has, impacted my life. So every piece over there is inspired by someone else and, a part of me. So yeah, it's a mix of both.
No, it's beautiful. Yeah. And I figure that there was probably a lot of it related to you also, maybe spending a lot of time yourself in solitude as well. But yeah, no, it's a very lovely collection.
Yeah, you
Thank you
captured
so much.
beautifully.
Like I'll tell you this, right? Like one thing that has inspired me a lot is, the people around me. And so when I was thinking about my first collection, like this was the first collection I did in my unique style that I have right now. And this style, I put it out. This collection I actually minted it on OpenSea, and then I took the guts to open a space, and all my friends came in and they made me burn the pieces on OpenSea and made me, put it out on Foundation. So I think that was the worst space that you can have as a drop party, but I'm really glad they had me do that because that gave me a lot of encouragement, and I'm happy how it turned out. So you do need those people around you, those who inspire you, those who say the right things at the right time. So yeah, that's how this creation was made.
Um, the descriptions in your art are also a very beautiful expression of your creativity. They read like poetry, and you mentioned that earlier. They are all lovely, and I was hoping maybe you could read one of your favorites to our viewers.
I'm really bad at that. One of the reasons I don't go to spaces and shit my work is um,
Would you mind if I read one?
that would be awesome. I love listening to other people read out my poetry.
Okay, give me 1 second while I bring it up.
Which one are you gonna do, Jenny? That way I can also like put up the text on the screen.
I think it is one from the Foundation drop. I'm just gonna pull it up. Um, bear with me 1 second. My computer's a little slow. Forgive me, guys. Oh, wait, it was not the Foundation drop. It was, yes, it is Solitude Serenade. Okay, here we go. It was Tranquility. Love this one. Okay. Do you have it up on the screen?
Yeah, I'm getting there. No, what did I do? Hold on. And actually, I don't have a way to pin it up on the tweet, but I got to it on the screen. So go for it.
Okay, perfect. Okay. The sky outside in blues and pinks, a breathtaking sight that makes her think of beauty so pure and rare, a sight that fills her heart with pure delight. She dips her brush in hues divine, and with each stroke she finds peace. Her soul at ease, her spirit free, she is finally finding tranquility.
That was so beautiful, Jenny. Thank you for adding so much life to that. Really loved your recitation.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for creating that art with that much intention. I just was very moved by the descriptions and the art. So I really wanted others to hear it.
That piece was actually inspired by an artist called Ishika. She is someone that I adore, and I had the opportunity of her reciting the poetry as well, the same poetry for me. Like I usually do that whenever I go to spaces hosted my friends. I ask them to recite it for me because I do such a bad job of about it. And she told me that the best comment that I got is when she told me that she really liked it. It just represented her so much, and the cat in the illustration reminded her of her kid. It's almost like how she makes a drawing. So I think for me, when someone says that about my work, when I do that, it's the best comment, more than anything else. So yeah, thank you for choosing that piece. That's one of my favorite pieces in the collection.
That's awesome. And it's funny you mentioned the cat because my next question is about the cat. Your collection Moments, which is on Objkt and Foundation, features a couple sharing romantic, quiet moments in different settings. I noticed that there is this one other character who always shows up, which is a black cat. And there's also a cat in several of the pieces in Solitude Serenade. Why did you include the cat?
Like I was always a dog person. Like growing up, I had a lot of dogs. But then when I moved into the new place, when I started being a shut-in, my brother bought in a cat, right? And you know, he is the life of our family. Like he's the naughty one, bringing everyone together. So I think I used that, and in a way, the cat is me. Like in every piece, that's a small representation of me in itself. So uh, I think you can call that cat as me, and maybe.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I actually was thinking that you were the character, potentially the character with the hat, because your PFP also has the same kind of like style hat, and then there's this character with the hat in, especially in like a lot of these pieces you have on the object collection and Moments. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe that's the cat and love interest or something like that, but it's so funny that you mentioned that like you were actually the cat instead.
Yeah, actually, I want the characters. When someone look at my work, I want them to be the characters in my piece, and I want to be part of that. Cat is, me looking at the moment, and I want the viewers to be characters in the art that I do.
That's so fun. It basically everybody is like co-creating with you and inserting themselves into that setting. Um, I noticed that setting wise, there's references to the city of Paris that come up in your art. Does Paris have any significance that it holds for you?
Like Paris is one place that I always wanted to visit. I haven't got the opportunity yet, but I'm planning, next year. So growing up, I always dreamed about traveling to Paris, and it's just a place of so much culture. And my whole collection is about things that I want to do, or things moments that I wish I could go back to. So I thought Paris would be some place I would really want to go to. So I use that in my illustration.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like Paris is like a dream place for a lot of people. And so it works very well with the dreaminess of the aesthetic and of the collection in general.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? So personal story on this is that so I loved Paris when I went. I went back in what was it 1998? Actually, right, coinciding with like when the World Cup was in France, and like I loved it. I loved the city. Like I explored it all with family, and but my wife went as well separately, and she had a very poor experience. Like she didn't like the people, and so she like left with a kind of like this desire to like never want to go back. And then our daughter like really wants to go to Paris too. Like that's like a dream for her. So I've always been joking around. I'm like I've told my wife, like, oh, we should do it again, and like we could do it right this time, and you can enjoy it. And she's still kind of like on the fence about it. So and I told my daughter, like, all right, I guess when you're older, it'll be like daddy daughter, a trip to Paris. We'll do it together. But so no, that's awesome. I love that. And yeah, and I just love that note, that concept of like, yeah, these are like a lot of the things that you aspire, dream about, and putting some of that into your artwork. So cool. All right.
I think there's a saying, right? Never
Mm-hmm.
pick your heroes. Maybe your dream location
Mm-hmm.
that can be disappointing. So I usually don't have any expectations in anything I do. I just hope I don't. I only the problem that I have with myself is I don't want to disappoint people. So that's one of the reasons I don't push myself too hard, because I feel some way I might disappoint people. So so I take it a little slow. Take my own with most of the stuff that I do, so that I try the maximum best that I could do with everything I do, and take as much time as I can. Maybe I it's just an imagination, right? Like me going to Paris is something that I've dreamed about so much, and who knows, when I go there, I might be disappointed in the place. But the thing is, like, I have done it, right? Like, end of the day, you don't want to leave your, dreams uh, dead, I guess. Like, you want to achieve all the, even if it's a disappointment, you have to, I guess. Yeah, I'm really bad with my words when I'm emotional. Sorry about that.
No,
Oh no, you're
no.
perfect. I was just thinking that that's a really wise way to see things. You go into meeting someone or going to a new place, and you go with it kind of like clean slate without any expectations. That's usually when you have the most fun. It's when you have like these like higher expectations that you can be let down. So I totally understand where you're coming from with that. And I happen to love it. I went. We didn't do the hotel thing. We did like just a simple Airbnb kind of setup, and more so like a living situation than like a tourist kind of thing, and just walked around. We had a really nice time.
Oh, glad to hear that. And yeah, and I think like you were saying, Jenny, I agree with that a lot. Like I think with most things in life, right? Like yeah, just going into it without expectations or whatever, and just seeing like letting it be what it can be, and experiencing it that way can make all the difference. I think yeah, usually when you come in with expectations, yeah, it's just really setting yourself up for being frustrated or disappointed. But you kind of go with an open mind with anything you do. It's definitely I feel like I find it's a much better experience for sure. So, and Prashant, next question that I wanted to ask you, now that you've been in the Web3 space for some time, what do you love most about now being an artist in Web3?
I don't know. Like, if you're talking about just being a genuine artist, it doesn't matter whether you are in
Mm.
Web3 or in real life. But if you want to succeed in Web3, one thing I realize is how you market yourself, right? Like that's one thing. Like, I've seen across the board, like people who are able to market their work better are able to succeed much more. So if we are an artist who wants to succeed in the space, like, learn to market yourself a little bit. And I forgot this one thing. Like, the best way of marketing is putting out the best work that you can do. That there's no way about it. Like, if your work is truly good, people will find it whichever way. But yeah, if you want to get that upper hand, then a little bit of marketing goes a long way.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, and it's a big factor, and I think that's one thing that can be kind of tough. I think for people in this space because they might be like the most amazing artist, but not really know a lot about like branding and marketing and or maybe not feel comfortable going on a space or sharing. So I know that part can be really challenging, as well. But I do find that sometimes, yeah, when the work is very good and somebody, you just have at least one person, kind of catch eye of that, it could definitely be life changing, right? And they can share it and kind of allow that person really to get a lot of exposure and growth in this space. So that's awesome. So Jenny, you want to go to your next question?
Yeah, absolutely. You touched on one artist already, and possibly some folks that influenced the poetry part of your art. But I was curious, what artists, maybe inside or outside of Web3, are you a fan of?
I didn't get the last part, Jenny. Could you repeat the question again?
Yeah, sure. What artist inside or outside, or maybe both sometimes, of Web3 are you a fan of?
Oh, a lot of artists actually. There's one right now in the panel. If you have a look down, you have Karan out there. Like, he is one of my absolute favorite. He just this chaotic artwork, which has it's so good on so many different levels. So I'm really looking forward to meeting him in real life. I've told him this like 100,000 times. So yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite. There are too many actually. There's this another artist called Pangu, whose work I really love. He makes these beautiful sceneries. and I've been really inspired by his work also. And then yeah, there are quite a few. I can take a whole day. People's name.
That's awesome. Thank you for always on the lookout for more artists. So I love asking that question. And I just gave Karen a follow.
Yeah, same here. And I'm just looking at some of the work right now, and oh man, it's so cool. So thank you for that.
I'll tell you, he's one of the most established artists from India. Like he's so celebrated, right? He was on Times. He was on so many different things. So I am like, I have a celebrity crush on him almost. So yeah, he's a good friend too. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite artists out there.
That's awesome. And by the way, so other folks that are in the audience, if you guys want to come up and request to speak, feel free to do that. So we'd love to have you up here. Let us know how you're doing. If you have a question for Prashanth, would love to hear it. So please feel free to request if you're there, you want to come up and join us. And I think one of the other things I wanted to ask you, Prashanth, as well is so outside of art, right, in Web3, like what other things are you passionate about?
I used to play cricket. Like when I was growing up, that's one thing I was really interested in. Um, I, I used to represent my district. Like it was huge back then, but yeah, I had some few health issues, so I had to back out of it. So cricket has always been my passion. I think everything else, like it all started going downhill when I lost that passion. I think it's very important to have a passion in life and never lose it. So yeah, right now art is my passion. So I don't want to lose this passion that I have right.
Very true. So important to have something you're passionate about, and ideally being able to do that, right? And I know it can be hard, like if because of some reason or another you're not able to pursue or do that passion. But glad that you found art and you're able to do that now. So that's awesome. And I see we got Nifemi up on the stage. Hey Nifemi, how are you doing today?
Hey, Jancarlo, how you doing? I'm
I'm doing
doing well
well.
on my end. Good. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
All right. I think there might be a delay on my end. I just wanted to come up as usual, just to say hello. What you and Jenny are doing. I say this every time I get on stage is, creating a space for, people like myself, people like Prashanth to talk about their venturing into Web3. So, more flowers to you and everything you're doing for sure. Um, but yeah, I wanted to ask Prashanth a question. Prashanth, thanks for sharing your story. I've seen your work. I really like the illustration. Um, I'm a engineer myself. I started off with, my background is chemical engineering. And, I had that urge myself to try to do something else beyond just engineering. And that's how I started making music. I started writing. And that's what led to my venture into Web3. For you, I think you said you started off as a banker and some engineering. Can you tell me more about that transition and what it felt like when you actually got into banking? I can imagine if India is anything like Nigeria, where we have all these industries that our parents kind of want to put us into, like engineering, go be a banker or go be a lawyer or whatever it is. Can you tell me more about maybe the pressure of doing a career that, society, quote unquote, respects, and how you then made that transition into, let me go explore my creative side?
That's a funny story. Like it was a compromise between me and my family. So we have this entrance exam to getting into engineering. And I actually wanted to do commerce. So when I got my entrance exam ranking, I was getting into one of the best colleges in the country. So they didn't want me losing out on that spot because lakhs of people try to get into that college. So it was I took out a course called as industrial engineering and management, which had commerce in it. So it was a compromise between me and my family. And then as always, I wanted to get into a government job And I spent almost a year preparing for that. I went to a different state to prepare for that exam. But in between something happened, and I landed up getting a job in bank, which in itself is one of the again one of the most competitive exams out there, because 10 lakh people write the exam, and few thousand people get in. So just happened by luck, but my passion was never there. So 4 years down the lane, I when um, everything happened, I felt it was, this is not what I wanted to do. I need to take some time out for myself, and explore what else I can do. So just happened that one day I decided, I need something else in my life. And then again I went down the rabbit hole, and here I am 2 years later. Like, one thing I have to say, right? Like, my family is one of the most supportive family I've seen. I am not on the right side of the age. I'm pushing 30, so it's not easy for any family, especially in India. If you consider your son, who is pushing 30, to not have a job and stay at home, doing art, it's not a lucrative career. But they have been so supportive of me, all throughout, whatever I do, whatever I take. And you need those, right? Like, when your family is your biggest supporter, that's what matters. And they have been nothing short of that. So yeah, I think the luckiest, the thing that I'm most proud of is having such a loving and supportive family. Like, there are things that my mom does for me, my dad does for me, that I wonder sometimes, is there anyone more supportive, who do that for their children? So yeah, my family, that's is my strong, I think, strength.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. And it's always good to have supportive people around that can help you with your vision. Um, just a second question before I hop off the stage. I think in general, I haven't been to India before, but I have a lot of Indian friends. And, you know, the thing that is unique about India is just the diversity of the different. I think there's a collective culture, but the diversity of the people, the different colors, the different spices. Um, how does that inform the way you create your art in terms of your heritage? Obviously, you're doing some digital art, but how does your heritage inform the type of art that you make?
I think one thing I'm really proud of is, like, just in my family, right? There are so many different type of cultures. Like, India is a vast country. Like, in my family, we have people from like 4 states. My mom is from a different state. They speak a totally different language. My father is from a different state. They speak a totally different language. My aunt, she speaks a totally different language. So, having grown up in this family environment, one thing is, like, I'm very inclusive. Like, any culture that I go to, I can adapt easily. I've stayed in places where I didn't know the language, but I was able to adapt. And the same thing with my art as well. I try to, whenever I see something that I love, I try to adapt it in my work. So I think that's how it has helped me.
So fascinating that, like, in India, like, just the amount of language that's there, and I, because I've also had a lot of friends in India, a lot of my friends from college, people I've worked with, and the fact that, like, yeah, like, people, I met people that were like from the same city, and then, like, and kind of like you were saying, Prashant, like, you have family members that speak different languages, and I'm like, how do people even communicate? Like, it's crazy, but it's so cool that there's that much, like, diversity and so much culture in the country. I think it's such a beautiful thing, and it really does teach you, probably from a young age, to have to, like, be able to adapt, and even learn how to communicate in other ways, to be able to get your points across. And I loved also your answer to the Femi's first question. I think that's so awesome that you have such a supportive family, right? That, and especially coming from an Indian family, because I know, again, from a lot of friends that I have, there's a lot of pressure usually to want to do those type of jobs, like engineer, lawyer. So I think it's amazing that that they actually supported you in pursuing this passion of art. So, man, that's amazing. It's so awesome. And Femi, thank you so much
Yep,
for joining.
that's it for sure. For sure. I'm going to step off now.
No, thank you
Have a
so
good
much.
Friday.
Thank
You
you,
too.
Nefemi. Friday.
All right, I see we got our friend here, Luco. How are you doing today?
Yo, what's good, fam? What's good? How are you? How are you?
Hey, hermanito, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, familia, hola.
Hola. Aquí muy bien. ¿Cómo vas?
Fine, bro, fine. I was, my headphones got fucked up and I was getting robbed, but yes, I am here.
Oh, happy to have you. Yeah, I was wondering because it looked like you had to keep bringing you back up, but I'm glad you're here now, brother. And yeah, do you have a question for our guest? Something else you want to share?
Well, yes, of course. Well, first of all, I wanted to give you the flowers to Jenny and you because, well, I'm so happy to hear from more artists to know more of their stories, of their things, and like thinking about that we can meet people. In this case of Prasna from India, for me, is like super mind blowing. So thank you so much for give this space, for give this amazing like interview. I was really, really, really happy to hear from him. Um, so yes, thank you for that. But yes, I actually have a question. I have the question of the cat, but Jenny do it at the beginning of the. But it's so nice to hear that. But my question is, well, for the people that know, I am a color addict. If I can, let's say it like that. And actually, I wanted to say you, Prashna, how do you select your colors in your artworks? I looked at you use like super hard colors and simplify the colors. You use like a simple color palette, but it's so powerful. It's so powerful to your creations, and it seems like give like another interpretation. Well, to me, that I am a color maxi, to me that give another interpretation to see your works and to see the composition, the characters, all the things that you done. But how do you select? Like, you have a favorite color or you have a favorite color palette? How do you use like this work creation? That's like my question.
So most of my friends ask me like, why did you get into line art? That's a misconception because what I go for is not the line art. It's the colors that I put in. Like if I take one day to make the line arts, I take 5 days to put in the colors. Like it's a lot of trial and error. Uh, for me, until and unless the color speaks to me, I won't go with the colors. So I use a lot of, on a single piece I might try out like 15 types of colors just to see if it is speaking to me the emotion that I want from the illustration. So it's basically trial and error. I don't want to admit it, but it's trial and error, man.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Thank you for that response. And actually, I wanted to ask you. I don't know if I missed it in the space or because I was a little bit rocked. But why do you didn't put faces to the characters? Why the characters are like known faces? It's super interesting because well, I feel and it made me feel that um it's we are all humans. We are all humans, and we don't have like um difference and all these things. Yes, of course, we are different nationalities. We someone has like green eyes, someone's like brown eyes, but in your work it doesn't matter this. And it's I wanted to ask you, why did you do characters with non-face? Super beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's something I think Jenny had asked before, right? Like, um, I don't know if it was Jancarlo or Jenny, but for me, it's the emotions that I'm trying to convey in my work, and I want the audience to be part of that emotion, right? So I want them to be the characters themselves. So that's the reason I don't put faces on any of my work.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, thanks so much. I'm super glad to know more about you. And well, let's keep go rocking. Thank you, fam, to the space.
Thank you, Luco, so much for coming. Appreciate you, brother. Hope you have a great Friday and a great weekend. And I love that one point you kind of that word, right? That like in a way, like not putting the faces really makes them, kind of universal, right? And it allows for like people to be able to like, insert themselves into the artwork, right? And become the subject, like Prashanth was mentioning. So that's so beautiful. And very interesting, Prashanth. That is eye opening that like you mentioned that it takes you like that long to like come up with the colors, and that you like experiment a lot. And I can actually kind of relate to that too, because sometimes when I create my art, I'll test things out, and I'm just like not feeling it, and then I'll change it, and I'll play with like different gradients, and eventually like at some point it just feels right, and I'm like, this, yes, and then I go with it, but so I could relate really to sometimes having to really think a lot about color and what really conveys the right mood and feeling in your artwork. So that's very interesting to hear that like you spend that much more time doing the colors versus the line work in your pieces.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm really particular about, right? You know, some of my best line artworks haven't been, shown to people because I'm still not confident with the colors. I still don't feel like the colors express the emotions that I want to speak out. So it's just a work in progress till now. Like even my earliest pieces, till the color speaks to me, I don't have the courage to put it out. So yeah, colors means a lot to me, a lot more than the line art that I do.
Wow, I'd love to see one time if if you'd be open to it, like a process video, almost to see the creation and how the maybe colors evolve, and then when it finally land on the ones you're looking for. That'd be kind of cool to see, if you'd be open to
Definitely.
that.
Something I'm planning to do once I have the new laptop setup. I'm planning to, uh, make a live study video of one of my works. How I go about the colors and how I arrive at the last piece. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. Yeah, I'm happy that. Uh, One thing I'm really happy about is when I started out in this space, I knew nothing about what's happening in the space, what I should do. But right now, I have a direction. I have a goal in mind. I know where I want to be. So I'm really glad that I had it. For a huge part of my life, I never had that. So yeah, this space gave me that, and I'm just happy about that.
Love it, man. That's awesome. And so maybe I don't see another speaker coming up yet. So if anybody else does want to request, feel free to come up. Oh, Luca, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
No, yes, I only wanted to say that I just collect this piece, the peanut food Jancarlo.
Oh, awesome.
Because yes, bro, I really love it. I really love it. Thanks for sharing. And actually, I wanted to share with you why. Why did I feel so connected with this piece? 2 years ago, I lose my cat. My cat's name was Pola, and she was a black cat. So to see this artwork remind me so much to her, and well, it's like me with this. I am this character with my girlfriend, my actual girlfriend. We are with the hands, and we are seeing Pola. So thank you so much, man, for that. I really connect so much, and well, so happy to have you in my collection, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Luco. That's the best kind of comments that I can get. I remember, I think it was sarcasm, when I put out my first piece on Objkt. He told me it reminded him about himself. So I think I remember all these comments. It's something I look back to and enjoy cherishing. So thank you so much, Luco, for telling that little story. I really appreciate you, and thank you, Jenny, also for collecting. I whenever I usually have a sale, I put out this small tweet, a personalized tweet, saying thank you. But recently, because of my conditions, I haven't been able to do that. But I'm looking forward to doing it once my laptop is set up. So thanks to both of you guys.
Oh, you're very welcome. And yeah, I saw that, and I resonated with it too. And I did something very similar. Like I kind of inserted myself, like that was me looking out into the stars. I'm always looking up at the sky. So that particular piece, and I was going through it, I was like, yeah, that I resonate with. So, like Luco, I inserted myself into the art and felt like I had to have it in my collection. So you definitely tapped into something, and I think it's going to continue building your success because of the vision that you have for the art.
Thank you so much, for uh, I'll tell you again, like, I'm someone who is lost. Most of the times, I need my friends to guide me, right? My first collection, when I put it out on ETH, it was one of my friends that I met in this space who encouraged me to put it on ETH, because I never thought, I could sell something on ETH. I was always on Polygon because it was a free network, and I thought it was all I was worth. But then someone believed in me, pushed me forward to, putting my art on Ethereum. And then the same person, pushed me forward to put it on Foundation. And, you know, I am so happy that, I have found so many beautiful people in this space, who believe in me. And they are so talented as well, right? The people that I talked about before, these guys are so talented. They have achieved so much. When they believe in my work, it means a lot more to me than I can ever express in words. And my collectors do. um, when they say these words, when you tell these words, I'm really emotional. I'm not good with words when I'm emotional, but it really means a lot to me. Um, and I remember this stuff, right? Like, one thing I go back to is, whenever I'm feeling bad, I go back and remember stuff that people have told to me. Like, really love to look at all the bright sides, what I've achieved, and I don't like to look at whatever I've lost. So when you guys say this, it means a lot to me. And it's not just empty words. Like, just saying that thank you. It really means a lot. Thank you so much, guys.
I had to get myself unmuted, but no, that's beautiful, Prashanth, and I agree with Jenny. I think you'll have a lot of success ahead of you, and you have very beautiful artwork, and I know I'm, definitely will be looking to probably collect some of your pieces as well. And I think it was even your friends that actually were the ones that said, like, "Hey, you got to bring Prashanth on your space. He's got great artwork." And we took a look. I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I'm really really glad that you came on here, and just very happy for what you've been able to already accomplish, and the fact that you have this passion. So that's so awesome. One other thing we usually like to ask guests, and this is also because I'm a huge fan of movies, so I like to kind of ask this just to see what people answer, and the range of different answers we tend to get in the spaces. But so what would you consider to be your top 3 favorite movies of all time?
That's a really tough question, because I watch movies in like 15 different languages.
Oh wow!
So difficult for me to shortlist it like as in three. But I'll go with personal connection. Like, first movie I watched with my parents were Titanic, for God's sake. So I'll go with Titanic as one.
It's a great one.
Second one, yeah, Carlo, you were saying something.
Oh no, yeah, I was saying, yeah, no, it's a great movie. I've probably seen it like 50 times already, actually, to be honest. That's a good one.
So the second one was one movie that I really liked as a kid. Nyan Mayavi. It's a Malayalam South Indian movie that was the first 3D film made in South India. So it was pretty big back then. And the third movie, which will I go for?
Wait, say
Uh,
it again.
I
Oh,
think Inception.
which angle would you go for? Okay.
I'll go for Inception, because
Oh, yeah.
I think that just the way he tells story is just on a different level. So you have to have it as one of your top movies out there.
Yeah, that's one of my. It's in my. For me, it's hard to pick like a top 3, but that like Inception is definitely like in my like top 3, 5 favorite movies for sure. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the director, so yeah, I love that one. So good. Jenny, were you trying to say something too? I think.
Oh no, I'm over because I'm muted over here, but
Ah,
I was just like agreeing. I was like, yes, Inception, love it, such a good movie.
oh, it's amazing. So good. All right. The other thing I wanted to ask you, Prashanth, as well was, do you have any, like, maybe you could tell us a little bit more about any upcoming projects or goals you have for the art career, and maybe what we can expect to see from you in the future?
I am part of couple of projects right now, but most of them are in like we are still creating the artwork. Um, so we do we did have a little bit of setback because I lost most of my work when when my laptop crashed. But I'm really looking forward to fulfilling my commitments when I get a new laptop set up. So yeah, a couple of projects down the line, and then as an artist, recently I started going out to exhibitions, right? And it's been such a totally different experience. I'm so used to going to virtual galleries, looking at art on my mobile. Looking at art in real life has been a totally different eye-opening experience. So maybe one day have an exhibition of my own in IRL. That's one thing I have in my mind. uh, and I would like to publish a book as well. So I want to publish two books actually, one with my artwork and one, the story I was talking to you about. So yeah, right now I did have the outline, uh, art outline for the illustration book, but again I lost it. But yet it's okay. I'll make it up again. So yeah, that's one thing I'm looking forward to.
Oh, that's awesome. And great goals. And yeah, love to see, yeah, be curious to see how that illustration book, that sounds amazing. And like I mentioned earlier, yeah, definitely, if you want some advice on publishing and all that, definitely hit up our friend Nefemi here, who's also one of the speakers. He's got a lot of good information on that.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, still in such an early stage, right? So it's really awkward for me to put uh, uh, come to a certain point. So that's the reason I've been holding it closer to my heart. But yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing it as early as possible, and then putting it out there.
Afterwards. And again, thanks to everybody that was here today listening in. Appreciate you guys, especially some of you that have come regularly on the spaces, and those that came up to speak as well.
Uh, Before closing up, I have like few finishing thoughts. Like first of all, I would like to thank Descriptive in the listener panel. He's been one of my early supporters, right? Like he's been one of my collectors. Like every time I'm going through anything new, when I'm trying anything new, he's the first person to give me advice on that. And it's just awesome having him as my collector and having him as my friend. You don't get that actually, right? Like when you have a collector who is so open to sharing his thoughts and supporting you, it just makes so much difference. So he's been such a kind of friend to me. So yeah, thank you so much, Descriptive, for all the support. And Jancarlo and Jenifer, before coming to the space, I was really nervous. I stopped doing spaces like 6 months back. I used to host and co-host a lot of spaces back then, back in the days when Twitter Spaces was huge. But somewhere down the line, I lost the confidence. I regressed a little bit. I stopped talking about my artwork. Um, and even if I go to spaces, it's just me chilling out with my friends, right? So thank you so much for having me in here. You guys have been so sweet, and you have taken so much care about me. So thank you so much, guys. Really means a lot to me. The effort and the kindness you have.
Oh man, it's our pleasure. It's been really nice getting to know you better, talking to you, and I'm so glad this in some way is maybe helping to build that confidence again, to get up on a space and speak, and glad to hear this was like the first one that you were like kind of like being interviewed and showcasing your artwork. And like I said before, I'm a big fan. I love the work you do. It's so unique. It's got such just a beautiful style, and the poetry that goes along with it is also just is very beautiful. So I hope you continue to create more and more art, write more poetry, and that you are able to hopefully also publish those books that you're dreaming about as well. And we'll be manifesting that for you, my friend. And thank you so much again for being a guest of ours today as well.
Again, thank you so much, Giancarlo and Jennifer. Thank you so much. it just made my day. Um, Again, like, yeah, it's just so sweet of you guys, to take time out. It's not an easy thing. When I used to host, being a host and, um, showcasing someone else's work is not an easy thing. You guys doing it week in and week out is just amazing. Congratulations to you guys for showcasing so many different talented artists from so many different backgrounds. Kudos to you. Uh, Looking forward to more of your spaces and learning about, more artists and their artworks.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. We love doing it and love being able to, you know, showcase a lot of the amazing people that are in this space. I mean, there's so many people creating so many great artworks and with very, fascinating stories to learn about. So it's wonderful to be able to do this. And yeah, I mean, this is a new space too, where now art, there's a lot more art being created and discovered. So it's an amazing thing, and hope to be able to see you in some of the future spaces as well. So appreciate you, man, and thanks to everybody that was here today. Thank you, Jenny, as well, for co-hosting as usual. And I hope everybody has a great Friday and a wonderful weekend.